Alright, welcome everybody to D&D Tyranny of Dragons, session number 52, The Parade of Scales. Whenever you guys are ready.
Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get our recap for last session out of the way. The last session, you started out still off to the east of the Sword Coast, deciding to venture back after fighting with Linnathon, this blue dragon that had turned into a Draco Lich while you were fighting him. You discovered in the town of Zonthal's Tower that it seemed that everybody that had unfortunately been able to escape during Linnathon's rampage throughout it as he was searching for the blue dragon mask had perished. You were unable to find a soul still alive within the village itself. After laying the bodies, you were able to recover to rest and heading back to the west. You found yourself back in the town just next to where the teleportation circle was, the town of Lork. Some of you were able to observe that there were many people that seemed to have been from Zonthal's Tower, the small village that you had just left from. Some people had fled to the next nearest large village of Lork. Some of you stayed behind helping to mend and heal the wounded as best you can, and a few of you went to the north back to the small grove where this teleportation circle was. You had contacted a friend who had promised to teleport you back, Macath the Crimson, tiefling you had met some time ago, and you found her already waiting for you there. That, it being somewhat later in the day after traveling for quite a few hours, you made your way back outside the town of Lork and rested for the evening. Upon the morning, you headed back to the teleportation circle, and with Macath's help, transported yourselves back to Waterdeep. As you arrived back in the dark kind of dungeon area of the Palace of Waterdeep, you departed from Macath, but not before she kind of said something cryptic, saying that when you went outside back into the daylight to not be alarmed. Unsure of what exactly she meant, you decided to go ahead and rush back up to the surface. As you ventured back out into the courtyard, back behind the Palace of Waterdeep, or off to the side of it rather, you saw that Waterdeep had a new feature, one that wasn't there when you left last. Hovering up above Waterdeep itself was a floating castle, one that you recognized. You had been on it some time ago, fought some interesting characters there, befriended some giants, and even fought a white dragon. Skyreach Castle seemed to have finally made its way to Waterdeep to join the Council of Waterdeep in this war that was happening on the Cult of the Dragon. Deciding that a few matters of business need to be taken care of, the group split apart and went about various duties, grabbing more clothes, restocking supplies, looking for magic items and such. And eventually you all made your way back to the guild hall that you had purchased and now called home. As you arrived at the guild hall, a couple of you a bit earlier than the others, you noticed something was odd about it. There were a lot of wagons parked out in the streets in front of it, and there was a lot of noise coming from the guild hall. As you made your way inside of it, you saw that the tavern area of it was bustling with business, like an actual tavern. You came to find out that your new friend that you had left to manage this place while you were gone, Joe Goth, had seemingly turned this into a business, using the funds that you had given him to renovate and replace the place and such. He had decided to start opening up a tavern, employing a few people to help run the business, and a cook and such to start preparing meals. And it seemed that with the news that this was owned by the Scales of Justice, your adventuring party, that it had brought plenty of business here, and the money that he had earned over the course of a couple days proved as much. As you were all sitting around, you had a visitor that you noticed inside the tavern, a person seeking you out. A female tiefling who you took a few moments to place, but then realized that she was in the last council session of the Council of Waterdeep. She introduced herself as Rian Nightshade and said that she was a member of the Zentarum, a somewhat shady organization, one that employed mercenaries and assassins for their main open forms of business, but have a bit of a nefarious and shady past. She came to you with a proposition. She had heard that you had conquered Zonthal's tower, eliminating the cult within it, and by right of conquest, the tower now belonged to you. The Zentarum wanted this tower. They had a keen interest in it for some reason, though she wouldn't really elaborate why. She did, however, offer you a substantial amount of gold as well as some magic items in payment for this tower, and also to give the Zentarum support to the council as well in this war against the cult. After you all discussed a bit and she departed from the room, all of you having time to think of a counteroffer and how exactly you were going to do this, if you were going to depart from Zonthal's tower or not, you all decided that it seemed reasonable and that the Zentarum support would be helpful in this war that would be coming shortly. After inviting Rian back to the meeting room, you counteroffered her, saying that you wanted some magical items, things that would be more useful to the group rather than this straight gold. Rian said that she had been given leeway, essentially, to negotiate even higher than her initial offer of 50,000 gold pieces, and she agreed with a good persuasion roll from Maximilian to look into obtaining these items. She didn't promise she could get them all, but she would do her very best, and that the items themselves, no gold involved, but just the items, would be the payment for Zonthal's tower, that the Zentarum support would be included as well. So with that, Rian went to go speak with her superiors, as she kept calling them, venturing back out of the tavern and leaving you alone. As you spent a few more minutes going back and forth in the meeting room, another visitor seemed to be within the tavern as you heard this familiar, deep, jovial voice that was Ontharr Froom, the leader of the Order of the Gauntlet faction. He made his way to the back room under your guidance, and you spoke with him for a few minutes. He spoke of things that you had seen or heard of, at the very least, that armies were gathering outside of Waterdeep, and that soon this final battle, this assault upon the Well of Dragons, where the Cult of the Dragon seems to be setting up for their ritual and their final stand against the Sword Coast, would be happening shortly. That the next council meeting would probably be happening very soon, within the next day or so. He talked to you for a few moments, hearing about your exploits at Zonthal's tower, as well as some other things. He didn't really have a lot of time to really meet with you personally, being the leader of this large faction that's throwing a lot of support to the council. But on good terms, you all left one another, and he headed back to continue with his paperwork, as he put it. With that all settled, the group headed back out into the city of Waterdeep, deciding to go visit an old friend. Remembered this giant who was the leader of Skyreach Castle and giant royalty as well. Bogothkus was more than likely upon Skyreach Castle. With Max's help, you flew up to the castle that was several hundred feet above Waterdeep, and you met with the old giant. He met you and greeted you fondly, remembering and such, and speaking about how much of a pain it was, really, to unite the giants to be included in this war. There was a lot of pushback, it seemed, and that's what took him so long to bring their forces down to join into the fight. But ultimately, he said that he would be included one way or another via a magical two-way mirror in the next Council of Waterdeep, and would be sending his forces alongside, as well as Skyreach Castle, into this upcoming battle. You were also told by Ontharr, before he departed, of a parade of celebration, and a parade that was honoring you, the adventuring party that had saved and fed so many people of the Sword Coast with your antics with the black dragon that you tried to bring into the city and deciding to send the meat off into the city itself to feed the poor and hungry. We're told that within the next couple of days there would be a parade in your honor in Field Ward of Waterdeep up to the north. But with that, you departed from Skyreach Castle, heading back home, spending your evening resting and getting ready for the mid-morning meeting of the Council of Waterdeep, where we're going to start the session today. So you find yourselves waking fairly early in the morning. The smells of cooked meat and fresh bread filling your nostrils here within the guild hall itself. Knowing that more than likely Jogoth, or one of the new employees here in this guild hall, is preparing breakfast for you all. Jogoth had said that the tavern itself was a normal one for the most part, only operating during lunch and dinner, so it was a bit early, or it is a bit early rather, for it to be operating as of now, so this food must be meant for you. So, what do y'all want to do?
Breakfast time. As I'm actually eating. Starving.
Definitely breakfast time.
We've been eating trail rations, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah, it's time for a good meal. We go and see what I can smell what Joe is cooking.
Yeah, as you make your way downstairs, you see there's already a table with a few plates on it, a couple of large dishes sitting in the middle of it with a mound of what appears to be bacon, as well as some sausage. You see some fresh bread, a couple of loaves already set out, filling the air with its fragrance. As you're moving down, trickling downstairs, you see Jogoth moving back through the kitchen and back into there with a plate full of eggs, as well as some fruits and vegetables to go along with everything. Setting it down on the table, and he kind of nods to each one of you, picking up a piece of bacon and eating it himself. As you all start to sit down, he says, "Well, I figure you have a bit of a busy day before you, so I figure breakfast would be in order for however long you're going to be here."
I imagine just, nod and thank him as I'm just inhaling it. I'm going to sit down and start wolfing it down.
Dara's going to come out from underground and join everyone for breakfast.
Just absolutely covered in dirt.
Just dust and dirt. Not even caring that I'm leaving a trail of it.
That's fantastic. He comes up to the table. Just gonna reach out and touch her and basically magically slap all the dust off. Not my food. No.
Alright. Anybody have anything else they'd like to do aside from eating breakfast and getting ready for the next council session?
I need to go.
Yeah, we're
back to the
going
armor
to get our
smith.
stuff. Absolutely.
Right. Okay. Sure y'all remember.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I remember.
Didn't
Just stroll
forget.
out and be like, do I feel like I'm missing anything? No sword, no shield,
I've
no
been,
armor, I'm good. I think.
No armor.
I've been thinking for the past week on how I would like to get this character drawn up with this cloak. I'm not forgetting this anytime soon.
Alrighty, so after finishing breakfast, all of you scarfing down the food that Joe has prepared for you, you set back off into the city. A couple of you having some unfinished business, some unfinished wares that you need to pick up. Stone Skull heading down to
Nanda's place. What is it called?
Yes. It's that place that totally has a name that I remember.
Totally.
I found it last session. Now I can't find it again. It was something needle. It was like a play on words with that. That's all I remember. Now I can't find it. But anyway, you go back to Nanda's place. She greets you enthusiastically as you walk through the door, Stone Skull, as she is tend to do. As you walk in, she's already bustling back over towards a somewhat large mannequin where she has draped this large cloak across it. She pulls it off and kind of motions for you. She's like, get down, kind of motioning for you to kneel down, being, a good 3 feet taller than she is. So as you lower down, she drapes the cloak across your back, kind of attaching the clasps up to your shoulders, and then kind of marvels at it as she clasps it in front of you, kind of looking over you up and down, and she moves you over towards a mirror. This 5'5" lady just kind of ushering you around the small shop, over towards a three-sided mirror, standing in front of it so you can see all the different aspects of this cloak. And she kind of looks up at you expectantly, says, "Well, what do you think?"
It's perfect. As always, you have lived up to the expectations. Thank you, Nanda, for all of your help.
She bows her head and smiles, says, "Yes, of course, of course." She thinks for a moment, says, "Yes, I think that should be it. That's all you requested. If you have anything else, or your friends do, please do give me another passing by. Let me know. I'm happy to help."
Of course, I will send them in your direction.
With that, she nods, and you bid her farewell.
Hey, Forge, am I mentioning? Sorry, is it like your avatar, your picture? Imagine just like kind of in maroon.
No. So this one is the way that I am kind of describing it is basically, just think of a plain, like a maroon cloak, with gold trim around the edges of it, and it has like a collar that comes up a bit, and it's trimmed around it, and it has the logo on it. And then it has similar, like, big, fluffy, like, red-ish colored fur that sets around the shoulders. Kind of like a Ned Stark kind of cloak, like big, heavy material.
Is it like hooded?
No.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I dig it. I just wanted to get a good idea.
Yeah.
All right. I'll see Stone Skull heading back out of Nanda's shop with this maroon cloak draped around his shoulders and his back. Kind of still fits him quite well, even though he's not normally wearing, nothing but black garb. What little garments Stone Skull decides to wear, opting for the more all-natural look normal. Mm-hmm. But with that, you set down...
Color looks good on you.
I thought it was a little more fitting, considering we now have a bit of status here.
Walk with me. I have something to show you as well.
Mm-hmm. And Stone Skull will join him.
So as the group ventures down to the south, heading out of the castle ward, down towards the trades ward, you find yourself moving into the smithing kind of district, this cutout kind of city block sized area where a bunch of armor smiths, weaponsmiths, and other people with metal crafting talent reside and have their business. You go to the same dwarf. You've got several items commissioned at this place from Erlingel. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And as you move forward, he has a couple of assistants. One kind of smaller half-elf man sees you coming, kind of quickly starts scurrying around, pulling up a few items, and then brings them up to the front as you see Erlingel finishing with the weapon he was working on and moving forward as well. Maximilian, as you approach, he sets out your shield and armor and sword. I think you had all three, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And a helmet.
And a commissioned helmet. So yeah, you see this full set of armor, including a helmet now, all designed pretty much. What did I roll for him? Yeah, pretty much exactly what you were looking for. As far as what you were asking in the design and such in the symbol on it.
Wait, what do you mean pretty much? That means we're missing something.
It is. It's up there. His DC was a 15. He rolled a 18. So it's what you asked for.
Nice. So everybody else can kind of see it. It's the breastplate that you've come to know that I've been, or the half plate, the heavier armor I've been wearing up until this point. But I imagine professionally done and glossed up too. It's all maroon, and all the places and joints and seams where the plate overlaps are layered in gold as well. And on the front of the chest plate, the front of the shield, and on the front of the helmet I've had commissioned, and the hilts of the antagonist all have been dyed in color or reworked in different metals and had our logo stamped on it in gold.
All right, so keeping with the maroon and golden trim, trend.
The actual design, if you can't see it in the bottom.
You see all this armor and the weapon and such, and the shield, all have the Scales logo imprinted on them now. Etched fairly deeply into the armor, so that even if it gets scarred with battle and such, the symbol of the Scales will still be very prominent on the armor.
Yeah, when I kind of tap on put the helmet on first, as they're getting ready, get it set up to put it on. But just kind of don the helmet, move around. Like, I think it's time, both our enemies and allies have something to know who we are.
All right. So, fancy armor and weapon and garments acquired. You know that the council was going to be about in the middle of the morning rather. You still have probably about an hour or so. Does anybody have anything else they would like to do before setting off to the palace?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Cool. Making it easy.
Well, we got to go find out where this parade starts. Is it before or after?
We said within the next couple days, so...
Oh, probably after.
Imagine. Yeah, probably afterwards. Alrighty, so... With that, you depart from the Trades Ward, heading back up into the bottom part of the Castle Ward, along Waterdeep Way, heading straight for the Palace of Waterdeep. Much like the other 3 times that you've ventured into this large palace, you are escorted by a guard towards the meeting hall. As you make your way inside, you see nothing is much changed. As with every other meeting in this large, pillared hallway with a good 50-foot high dome ceiling within it, there are guards, nobles, anything you can think of that would be the entourage of great leaders, such as those that are included on the Council of Waterdeep, are just everywhere in this room, packing it to the brim. You do notice a few new faces here and there. A lot of kind of grizzled veterans is what they look like to you. You kind of assume that they probably arrived with the armies that are now sitting outside. Yes.
I like it. I want to walk in like confidently, with the group. This not disrespect, but I'm strolling in here.
Yeah, and as you're moving in, all of you can perceive, even innately, such as with Terra, that a lot of eyes are on you. There is no standing ovation or clapping or celebration and such upon your arrival like you've seen with some of the common folk that you've interacted with within the city. However, you can definitely tell that you are very much recognized inside this hall and are given space as you try to move through it, people clearing out of your way. Very good sign of reverence being shown to you. But with that, you make your way through the crowds, eventually arriving at the guarded side entrance that will lead you to the council chamber.
Oh wow, what is this place? I don't think I've ever seen it before.
It's really nice stonework in here.
Oh, only the best for the keep, I imagine.
I like how they're always ready to play settlers in the middle.
And themes plays in the background. Sure I have all my notes. Alright. So as you make your way into this somewhat dark chamber that you've been to several times before, you see, as you're making your way down the initial hallway heading into it, that there are several guards of different livery and such posted out here. It seems that the added presence is definitely symbolic of the added forces here in Waterdeep. As you make your way into this large chamber, dimly lit by these glowing lights, though you see no flame within many of the pillars, making your way across the smooth stone floor, over towards the table, you see it completely full of many faces, all of which you've seen before. No new ones seem to be present at this time. Going around the table as you approach, moving towards your seats, we'll go ahead and reintroduce everyone just so we remember. You see Ambassador Conrad Bronanvil, this shield dwarf that reigns over the Mithril Hall. Remember that he wasn't a fan of the concessions that you made regarding the dragons, but had gone through with them. You see him talking with a few others. You see Delan Winterhound, this male half-elf, who belongs to the faction of the Emerald Enclave. He assisted you with a mission to go investigate the Misty Forest, as there had been dragon attacks there, which ultimately led up to your confrontation with Truth and the Green Worm-speaker Nerovane. Next to him, you see King Melindratch, a wild wood elf, rather, who is the king of the Misty Forest and a member of the Lord's Alliance. Much like Ambassador Conrad Bronanvil, he was made to make concessions for an apology for the Draco Rage Mythal centuries ago. Also, not a big fan of that, but you see he is still present, especially knowing that one of the worm speakers, Nerovane, that you had slain, was in fact his ousted son, one that he had thought long dead. In the middle of the entire group, reigning over as the Open Lord of Waterdeep and the leader of this council, is Lady Laeral Silverhand. It's again female human? High elf. Why does it say human in here? Thought she was... Nope, she's a human. Never mind. I thought she was an elf. Either way. Alright, so yeah, you know her as the Open Lord of Waterdeep. Has somewhat cryptically given you advice and leaned on you for making decisions within the council. Next to her, you see two others that you've seen together as of the last session. The former Open Lord of Waterdeep, Lord Dagalt Neverember, the Lord of Neverwinter itself, sitting there, and next to him you see the tiefling you had met the day before, Rian Nightshade, also sitting promptly at the table now. Next to them you see Marshal Ulder Ravengard. You know him, or remember him, as the leader of the Flaming Fist, which is the military might of Baldur's Gate. Next to them, a very familiar face, a man you've known for quite some time, Anthar Froom, the leader of the Order of the Gauntlet, the clerics and paladins of Many-Face in Waterdeep, or in the Sword Coast, actually. Anthar Froom being another human, as well as Uldor. Next to them, you see the leader of the Harper organization, Ramalia Haventree, this moon elf that has been prevalent in your story for quite a while now, alongside Anthar Froom, along with her master informant, I suppose, who is not present, Leosin Erlenthar, who you've known for quite, actually the longest out of all of the people in this story. The last two You see, kind of standing off to the side, he never seems to sit amongst the council, and you assume that is based off his kind of ceremonious position here in the council, which is Sir Esteval, this Knight of Cormyr and representative of Daggerford. And finally, there is the representative from Silvery Moon, this male human, kind of aged-looking fellow named Tairn Hornblade, who you've been or heard him called, nicknamed Thunderspells. Seems to be a somewhat powerful wizard. But as you glance around, seeing all of the different representatives present for this meeting, which could possibly be the last one, if what you've been told up till now has any truth to it, you find your seats sitting down amongst the group of powerful lords and ladies of Waterdeep, and the room begins to fall silent. As it does so, you see Lady Laral standing up and addressing the room as it does so. With that, she looks across to everyone, kind of nodding to each one that's making eye contact with her and glancing at you and inclining her head towards you. That means to speak out to everyone. It says, "A long time this has been coming. It is unfortunate that violence seems to be our only way of handling this. But the more time that goes on, the more attacks from the cult that are carried out. It seems that violence is the way that we will have to settle this." With that, she looks over towards you all in the group. "We may have a bit of good news, hopefully. How did your adventures go to Xonthal's Tower? I have heard that you have returned with a mask or something of the like."
Yeah, I'll stand and motion to Ignalia, to the table, gesturing to put it on the table. And the dress room said, "We successfully penetrated Xonthar's tower. We cleaned the place of the dragon presence and met our contact there, the defector. He attempted to get the mask to us and was successful. We, upon leaving, realized that the cult had dispatched another dragon to hunt us down and slaughtered and destroyed the entire village of Xonthal's Tower in an effort to find us and the mask. We slayed the dragon, and more foul magic is afoot as the dragon's skeleton reanimated, and we destroyed that as well. However, during the altercation, for some reason unknown to us, the mask itself broke. I kind of mentioned to it.
Yeah, I think we kept the fragments, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm just going to drop those down on the table.
As you do so, these two halves of this dragon mask that for a while was planted firmly on Ignalia's face, giving her some magical abilities, but it seemed that for some reason, at the conclusion of the battle with Linnathon, had broken in two. As you set the two halves, them clanking kind of on the table with this hollow plasticky sound, you see the room kind of sighing and looking at it, some people shaking their heads and such. You see Romalia tilting her head to the side as she looks at it and kind of holds out her hand, looking towards you all, and says, "If you don't mind, may I examine this piece?"
I'll scoop up the two halves in one hand and reach out and extend it to her.
She nods to you as you do so, and she grabs a piece in each hand, and she seems to look down at them, kind of concentrating for a few moments, and then closes her eyes for another few moments. She slowly inhales a breath and then lets out another, and then opens her eyes, frowning down at the two halves of this blue dragon mask. As I am not certain of the properties of these dragon masks, but From what I do know, I do not believe that this was one of them. There was a plethora of incantations placed on it from what I'm able to gather, but all of them were filled with things for a moment. Fail-safes, I suppose, to not work properly after they were utilized the first time. I think that... Thanks for a moment. This dragon that you fought, was it a blue one?
It was.
That she turns her eyes towards Ignalia. Says, were you struck by its breath attack?
I don't think I actually was I?
You were. It shot you point blank in the face.
Oh, okay. Then,
Yeah,
yeah.
in midair.
No, I don't remember it. Alright, but yes.
With that, she kind of nods, says, that makes sense then. It seems that once any of the properties were used, it would lose its magic at that point, and the facade of it being a real mask would be shown or broken, much as this mask seems to have been done.
What?
Unfortunately, I think this was a fake.
I'll imagine my shock echoes the shock of the room.
Very much so. You see the room kind of sighing, a few people, much the same issue with shock in their voices, outrage in a few others, some people saying they should have never trusted anyone from the cult. After a few moments of this going by, you see they're all setting the two halves of the mask on the table and raising her hand to silence the room. She says, it is unfortunate that this mask was not the true one. It was something we hope to dampen or at least hamper the cult in their plans. But finding this, we have to assume that they have all of them, and that they are at the Well of Dragons. That she sits back down in her chair and kind of looks over towards Ramalia. Ramalia standing and addressing the room as well. As she looks around, she says, we have had many more scouts in the area. There have been hundreds of chromatic dragons seen flying about the air all around the Well of Dragons. We cannot get any closer, and there is an army present as well. One that somewhat surrounds the Well of Dragons itself, but one that could be mobilized very quickly against ours. I'm confident that with everyone's support, we'll be able to supersede this, or at the very least, be able to keep them busy, while we have other ideas for stopping this ritual. That she kind of looks around, thinking for a moment. As I have spoken to many of you. She glances around the chamber, kind of scanning all of the different faction leaders and representatives. And I believe that there are no holdouts. Everyone is satisfied with this path that we have decided. As she says that, she looks around and you see nods of agreement, some kind of ascension as well from a few people. You see Ramalia looking towards you, and you all notice that Onthar is kind of grinning next to her as she turns towards you all. Says, your actions thus far, I think, have helped to unite this group of people. I don't think this group of factions and all of these different powers would have united without your help, so from the Harpers, and I think I speak for mostly everyone here, we thank you. Says that. You're all able to see the scorecard. And if you look through the skull card, you'll see how your actions through this story have affected the factions.
And only a couple of them were we just 1 or 2 points away from meeting the score needed. And assuming because we beat Zonthal's tower, that's enough mostly for all of them.
So you'll look at the Harpers. The Harpers are up to 7.
Mm-hmm.
Order is up to 7.
And that's without the 4th council meeting?
Mm-hmm. The 4th council is... Or
The
wait,
one
did I
we're at
include
now.
that?
Nope. Not.
I might not included that.
Oh man, that score's not in there.
Yeah, there's no scores
Yeah.
for the 4th council yet, so...
Gotcha. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, one thing that has not been noted yet is this one. Plans to sell Zonthal's tower to the Zentarum has not gone unnoticed.
Mm-hmm.
So 7 beforehand will bring you up to 10 minus 1, so 9 for the Harpers, gaining their support.
Okay.
10 once again minus 2 will bring you down to 8 for the Order. Onthar still smiles favorably on you, in their support. The
Scroll
Emerald
down.
Enclave was also at 7, so down
Give you
to
the total here.
9, I believe. Yep, 9.
Mhm.
I had all these scores, and I was going to do this a little bit more organized, but it's fine.
I feel like if the Enclave still likes us, then everyone likes us.
10. So we had 10 before on the next one with.
Yeah, Laeral
Laeral.
with 2 more for her, minus 1, so that will get you to 9, or no, 10. You stay at 10. That'll bring you to her. So you have Laeral's support, which you can see is important.
Because it gives every one of these a bonus here.
Dagult was at 9, gaining 3, losing 1. So 11 for him.
So we gain 1 on the last guy, which is the bonus that we needed for all the others too. For
That was at
Suristival.
6. Plus 3 minus plus 2, so that'll bring...
What bonuses are you talking about?
So you see at the right where it says supported by Istival is supported by Laeral Silverhand. So if with the last column we also will have his support because we have 9 now, and we'll gain plus 1, bringing it to 10. So that's an extra point for every group, basically. Because
Oh, okay.
we have all of,
we
have his support, and then we have Silverhand support. So that's 2. So basically, it's plus 2 for every column, pretty much.
That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Your final totals, as you'll see down at the bottom. For your final tallies, you will see that all of your renown with these factions and playing back and forth and being more of a neutral party seems to has, for the most part, appeased everyone, bringing them together. There are a couple that was a bit closer with it could have been. A few of your decisions having some interesting ramifications, as you can see through this, but I've been keeping track of this the entirety of the time since our first council session, since the last part of the campaign.
That's crazy.
So you can see throughout how your actions have affected things and how close it
awesome.
could have been to not having support from some of these factions. Yeah, apparently Dagult really liked y'all, even though...
Yeah, we're royalty after this.
And so, I think it's fitting that Laeral and Dagult are 2 of the highest, the 2 either former or current Open Lords of Waterdeep.
Yep.
Mr. Ravengard seems to enjoy our presence as well.
Mm-hmm.
We're pretty good at
Soldier to
this.
soldier.
I've never gotten a report card in my life as a Gensai who can't see, but I feel like I did well.
This
Yeah,
is a
just
bad thing to
barely.
say at the end of the scorecard, but who's Hornblade again?
Terran Hornblade, he was very quiet, and even in this last one, he's still a very quiet
That
representative.
helps.
He was kind of a very much watch and see kind of guy. He is the Silvery Moon representative, a powerful
I
wizard
know it's hard to
in his
see
own
all that,
right.
but those are the
Didn't really
categories.
have a big old dog in this fight, but didn't really talk much, unlike a lot of other people. Kept a quiet observance of everything.
Well, it's good to know the random wizard approves of us.
But
Of Silvery Moon.
yeah, used to be the king of that, and has so much clout that he's not the king, but still the representative. At least there's that. But yeah, you can kind of glance over that, see all the different things that you could have done, and how that would have affected things. For instance, let's see. You saw that you left the dragon hatchery intact back in the Horde of the Dragon Queen. A lot of people didn't like that. Several did, but a lot of people were not fans of that particular course of action. You see how your concessions with the metallic dragons upset some people. Selling Xanthal's Tower. Not the greatest move according to the faction, but
According
doesn't
to
really
every
matter.
faction, but
Yeah, every faction.
That's why they're going to end up homeless and we're going to end up rich.
I
It's
noticed
crazy
it says
that.
brought Fae to the table. Where are those necromancers at?
Well, it probably started with the Wrath.
So, ignore brought
Like,
they
we
to the
did.
table. That is a part that I omitted from this.
Sure,
Because
I
that
mean,
was...
Willie could always go stabbing.
It was
Also,
not...
we could have had an
I
A plus
can-
plus.
so
I can tell you what would have happened there. It was essentially Thay has a dog in this fight just because Thayans are involved in this, and you would have been sent to Thay for a meeting. Zero combat. It was all RP, and you would essentially be mind fucked for a session. And to me, based on how y'all played this entire campaign, it wouldn't have been fun because you couldn't do anything.
Gotcha.
I
It would have
mean,
been a bunch of intelligence
what
saving
would happen?
throws.
we could have
Oh,
started
yeah.
killing Faye.
You could have started. It wouldn't have gone well for you, but you could have.
You sure?
Oh man,
You
was
say
Zaz
that.
Tam involved in it?
Representatives of Zastam. He is the one that
Ah.
would be willing to offer support, since he was not a fan of the Splinter faction going out to bring something powerful into the world.
Man, I would have been
Yeah.
totally worth it if we could have RP'd with Zaz.
He wouldn't have been present. I thought about putting him in and making it more, but like I said, it's
Because that's
It's not
like, okay,
super-
everybody on your P's and Q's, don't fuck up here. This dude could end us the snap of his fingers. Like,
one of the most powerful beings in the world.
Yeah,
Not the Sword
that's
Coast,
ever
the
existed.
world. Yeah. So, that's the one thing I took out and I substituted with something else. But yeah, so yeah, you are able to tell looking around the room that everyone, even the ones that are a bit on the line, Anthar's was actually up 2 more because I gave him an extra bit because of your relationship with him. So actually, he's up to 10.
You can't hate me. We're kind of related.
Well, family.
I mean,
Definitely
he
wasn't a
could.
fan of a few things, though. Especially the dealing with Zentarum and stuff.
Yeah.
So, as you look around the council chamber, with all of this in mind, everyone seems supportive of this. And with that, Laeral addresses the room again and says, well, if that is the case, then shall we get started on battle plans, then? With that, she starts to go into detail. We'll once again go around the room as everyone pledges what they will be bringing to this fight. Ambassador Conrad Braunanvil, this shield dwarf from the Mithril Hall, pledges dwarf soldiers and dwarf-forged ornaments and siege weapons for this fight.
Ooh, that's
Delan
fancy.
Winterhound brings druids, treants, and some lycanthropes even, that are good or neutral aligned, of course. King Melandrach brings elven eldritch knights to the table, some of his personal army from the Misty Forest. Antar Froom of the Order of the Gauntlet brings his paladins and healing clerics to support the fight against Tiamat's forces. Sir Istival will bring in the Might of Cormyr, including Purple Dragon Knights and War Wizards that will be here shortly to Waterdeep, moving up from Daggerford. where you'd seen a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
Laeral Silverhand, the Open Lord of Waterdeep, will be supplying a good chunk of Waterdeep's army and conscript troops from the city as well. Lord Dagalt Neverember will be bringing Neverwinter conscript troops and mercenaries from all around the world, using his vast fortune to do so.
Nice.
Marshal Uldor Ravengard of the Flaming Fist will be bringing his warriors and several expert advisors to help train these conscript troops from Neverember and Silverhand. Ramalia.
That's even better.
Ramalia Haventree will be bringing her Harper mages as well as many scouts for their information gathering and such, supplying the information gathering network. Terran Thunderspell's Hornblade will be bringing the army of Silvery Moon, and the Knights in Silver as they're called, as well as Silvery Moon conscript troops as well. Powerful mages included in this army. And finally, the last representative, one that you personally helped secure the assistance of, Rian Nightshade, will be bringing and supporting from the Zentarum assassins and many mercenaries, people that don't need to be trained, ones that just expect a paycheck afterwards, and assassins who could be quite key to assassinating important figures within the cult during the battle, or slipping in unnoticed to help with other deeds.
Ooh.
So,
and we still have the support of the or the metallic dragons.
Yes, and their support is obvious. They'll be supplying dragons.
Yeah, they will definitely be supplying dragons.
Yes, you do see. I don't know why she's not included in this, actually.
Yeah, I was curious. I was looking at it, I was like, why is she not on this list?
Yeah, Otoria Locarnos is present, Elia, to represent the metallic dragons that you met with. I guess that makes sense. It's broken up weird in Roll20. That's why she's not under the Council of Waterdeep. She's under the metallic dragons.
Yeah, it has to be under like the council itself, right? Otherwise, we'd have a call.
I've got
for those
two
masked devils that wanted to help us a while back.
Yeah, I've got lots of allies you could have gotten. The devils were one of them. However, you turned down that invitation, so that is one faction you didn't get. But yeah, with the combined might of metallic dragons led by Iluthra, Nimmer, Otaria Locarnos, Protanther, and Taz McKella, who you met with, they will be bringing dragons to help balance the scales against these hundreds of chromatic dragons that are at the Well of Dragons. So with all of these factions assembled, you start to lay down plans. This meeting
the giants
takes some time. Yeah, the giants do, yeah.
Logakis and his mirror.
Yes, Logakis and his mirror is included in all this as well. To throw in, because it's very open about what can happen in this story. Because you could have crashed, Skyreach Castle, or it could have just been given to the giants and they never would have came back, and you could have kept it for yourself, alienating the giants.
Wasn't thinking big enough.
What's your plan? Well, we're gonna take this giant flying castle and cram it into Tiamat's space, alright?
So, as you go through, you are 100% included. There are many very battle-savvy people involved in this council. People such as, Marshal Ulder Ravengard has one of the most powerful and tactically sound armies in the world in the Baldur's Gate army, the Flaming Fist Warriors. Lady Laeral Silverhand is literally ancient, has been around for centuries, offers insight as well. All of these other people able to offer insight in various ways, but you are included on it. So, the basic premise is that an army will be gathered. The last bits of it are assembling, and then the march across the land will begin. Through the aid of Skyreach Castle, as well as various teleportation circles, massive ones, the power bordering onto mythal power, being set up not super close to the Well of Dragons, but within much closer range of where it is now, because as you see on the Sword Coast map here, Well of Dragons isn't close. I'll go ahead and mark it on your map for you.
Isn't it off to the west somewhere?
It's down here.
Yeah, south of us. East. Sorry.
Way over there.
So that's
Way over there.
at least a month plus of going just, as an adventuring group, much quicker than a full army would be marching down there. So series of teleportation circles have been set around the area to allow the army to move much quicker. Obviously, Skyreach Castle will need to go there manually, the old-fashioned way, flying through the air. That being said, a lot of the resources have very straightforward uses. The dragons being used to counter the dragons, the Zentarum agents being able to use to assassin leaders and generals within the cult behind enemy lines if they're able to do so. But there are other uses that could be done, and if you have any to suggest to the council, they have open ears. So, that being said, all these plans being laid out and the army being discussed and how it will get there, the logistics of it, of how the army will be paid, talk of a horde of dragons, obviously probably existing at the Well of Dragons itself, based on what the events of Skyreach Castle. You're welcome to join in on the input. Know all of their different things. I could probably show you all each of their handouts so you can start reading those over.
Yeah, that would help.
Yeah, so I'll just show you all of them. I don't think, let me double check, make sure there's no spoilers in any of these. I don't think there is, but...
I feel like we're about to play Stratego.
We kind of are.
Did anyone ever play the Lord of the Rings Risk?
No.
I want to now, though. I didn't know that existed.
It did after the movies came out, and I feel very prepared for this. Let's start moving pieces.
Alright, so I will show you all of these different players in the game.
A lot of these are just blank for me.
Are they?
Yeah, no details under the...
Or are they under the...
Yeah.
Oh, they should be. Oh, no, it is under GM notes. Okay. Alright, I'll fix that here in just a second. I just want to get them all shown to you first. You can see some cool pictures, though. So, I mean, that's cool on some of these.
So many. Oops.
And I'll throw Atari Lucarnos on there, because why not? Okay, let me adjust some notes real quick.
No pictures.
God, that dragon name. Every time.
It's a fun one.
Carnos.
Atari Lucarnos.
Yeah, just to spell like it's like
Sounds like something in Klingon.
Atari Lucarnos. I think they have a guttural language, right? I'm not a Trekkie.
Very.
Going through the list right now. I'm on King Melendratch, who I'm copying now. I do have to do this all manually. I apologize.
No worries.
We'll let it slide.
Just keep track. This time, alright. Well, I appreciate your forgiveness.
So we'll definitely have that.
I didn't even think about
now.
Being able to see all of the sources and stuff.
Like how it's presented, yeah.
Yeah. Nothing else. This is a cool little behind the screen thing that y'all can look at and see what I've been dealing with this entire campaign. Yep, you've already done. And so you can see her stuff. Wait, you should already see Rian's.
Yes,
I had to make that one.
We do.
Yes, lawful evil. We all called it.
No, to the surprise of no one. Silverhand.
Alright, so we're sending Winterhound after Saruman, right? Because trends are his weakness.
It right. I actually used a not Saruman, but Sauron picture in one of my games as a fallen angel. I gave him a mace instead, and I was like, black armor's
Pretty
dope.
accurate.
Yeah, it actually is. I think that's what I searched too, was like fallen angel, and it's like Sauron. Like, yeah, that makes sense. Malia, Air and Thunder spells, a guy that nobody knows. And Otaria Lacarnos. Love her name so much now that I can say it. Alright. So I'm going to give you all a few minutes. Y'all can just read over the different factions and what they're providing. Get some ideas as to what you may want them to do. Because once again, they're very open to suggestion. So if you have any plans or any ideas for how the forces could be used, they will listen. To the bathroom real quick, and I'll be right back.
I'll at least give you guys the pictures that we have. Go from there. Alright, so it should go without noting that the dwarves are going to provide gear for some of the soldiers. That's Ron Amble, Ambassador Ron Amble.
Yep. And siege weapons. Okay, so the obvious one is we have dragons that'll fight other dragons, right? Like we can just like kind of cross them off.
Maybe we can get Winterhound to send the treants and lycanthropes to clear the path through. What forest was that we have to travel through?
No, they're all teleporting, right? I figure we're bringing everybody with us.
No, we're going. They're not teleporting. We're all traveling by road.
What? No, they're setting up teleportation circles.
If I'm not mistaken, I thought we were going by road all the way there.
I thought the only person that wasn't traveling by way of teleportation circle was the castle.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, that changes everything. I thought we had to actually get there.
No. Have it?
And yeah. Unless that was the point of the mythals that he was mentioning.
Yeah, the power he's talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. I'm not seeing anything that really stands out.
Alright, so dragons. We're going to fight dragons. The lycanthropes and stuff. Treants. Druids. We should figure we should put them on the defensive line with the clerics. You know, like our back, the support structure.
Yeah, so Altharfrum will be taking up the healing clerics and protectors, so we'll need to keep them behind our front line. Mages behind them.
King Melandrax is pledging 11 Eldritch Knights. Elven. I can't. I'm like 11. Way to go, underwhelming.
You barely get my allegiance, all right?
Yeah.
Don't feel bad. I did the same thing when I was reading over it. I was like 11 knight. Wait, that's not right.
Gee, thanks,
so we're gonna have the Eldritch Knights on the front line, yeah.
Yeah. So they'll be front line. We can send Raven Guard's group with them. We can put the Paladins, because that's the Flaming Fist Warriors, and they also have advisors to train.
And more soldiers than anyone else.
Yeah, so they should definitely go frontline with the Eldritch Knights.
Yeah, for sure.
Behind them, we should definitely put the Paladins and Clerics. So the Paladins basically probably protecting the Clerics. is what I'm guessing that situation is there. So we should definitely put them next. We have the siege equipment. Siege equipment is if
we need to have some sort of protection with them.
Yeah, so if we're talking like ballista and things like that, is that kind of what we're expecting out of that Havoc?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
If that's the case, then I mean, do we want them rolled out like do a line of like Eldritch Knights leading the way, and then do some of the siege weapons, and then the rest of the Flaming Fist troops behind that or protecting it? And then we also have Waterdeep's army as well. I mean,
yeah, I think Waterdeep's army needs to go in the front.
So we have let's count. So the largest of which was Flaming Fist. So we got Flaming Fist, we have Waterdeep, we have Neverwinter, we have the Eldritch Knights.
Never mind. No, you're right.
So yeah, those are all frontline kind of fighters. And then
let's put Sir Esteval with the dragons.
Okay.
The wizards will help with the fights against the dragons too.
Yep. So I'm missing one here.
They do bring up the fact that Skyreach Castle will be present and is sure to be assaulted by dragons when it arrives on the battlefield.
Oh, right. So we can separate people out there too. All right. So here's what I got. Let's see if you guys agree to this or not. So we can send. Let's actually send Waterdeep. Or no, let's send Neverwinter troops up to Skyreach to protect. And we'll send the mercenaries from the Zentarum with them to help.
And then put the mercenaries on a flying castle? Or assassins on a flying castle?
Not the assassins, just the mercenaries. Because they have two groups. They have assassins and they have mercenaries.
That's going to get awfully complicated if we break everybody down like that. I mean, yeah, I'm down if you want to put the. I was just looking at the names and like their faction would go,
or
all of them in their entirety to one spot. The street.
We can send the Dwarven soldiers up there, and we have just their siege weapons on the ground.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Because we have
Dwarves and giants aren't super good friends.
Yeah.
We should probably not put them on a flying castle together.
Okay. Then what do we do? I don't want to give off potentially really powerful troops to completely defend.
What about the Harpers? What about the Harpers on the castle?
Am I missing their sheet here? Hold on.
Ramalia Haventree.
Well, they have the scouts though, so they should be in the front, right? I mean, unless we split them.
Oh, we have other scouts too, don't we?
There we go. Okay.
Cheap for y'all. Factional assets.
So, or why don't we? Okay, I want. Actually, that would make more sense. Why don't we send Sir Saval up there? Because they have mages and dragon knights they can protect.
Yeah, we can do that.
So we could do Istaval and Neverember on the castle. And that leaves us with Ravengard. That leaves us with Silverhand, Melendrich, And I'm looking for frontline people. Braun Anvil on frontline. And that puts Ontharfrum with the clerics and paladins behind them. And then backline would be the druids, lycanthropes, treants, and all of the Harper mages and scouts. And that leaves us with the assassins and mercenaries to be able to send in whenever we want.
And Arcane Brotherhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that makes up for everybody, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
The last two are the
Where do we say we're putting the siege engines? Because those should be the back line.
Yeah, so we have them grouped up, but we can obviously split them. So we'd have the soldiers up in the front, but obviously we would want the siege weapons towards the back.
Mm-hmm. I think we should put the Arcane Brotherhood by the siege engines. They can, I mean, just basically super siege engines, and they can defend, because that's going to be a huge thing. I mean, it's just a force multiplier.
Okay. All right. So, all right, I'm going to open my notes here and mark this down.
I like that.
And then...
You're jotting this down for my reference.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah, I'll jot it down. Like, I've been in and out, so I haven't heard everything I've decided.
The big thing I'd like to do with the assassins, my only thought is if there's a way to try and get them behind enemy lines to disrupt the cultists, like chain of command. We need to disorient them as much as we can before we start fighting them, because odds are we need to put the majority of our focus to the sky with the dragons. We'll be able to mess with the cultists.
Alright, I'm gonna start making the notes here. Hold on. Neverember and Istival on Skyreach. Alright, so we have Neverember and Istival on Skyreach. Frontline was Braun Anvil, the Dwarven troops. Silverhand. Bellandrich. And Ravenguard. Behind them, midline would be Frum's clerics and paladins. Backline. Do we want to do midline with all the siege engines as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm also thinking about the strategy for this fight. Do we want to try and go toe-to-toe with the dragons, or do we want to get inside the well as quickly as possible? Like, do we want to focus on the dragons or the cult?
So the dragons are currently flying overhead from what they were able to detail, so we should be sending the metallics to take care of that.
I was just reading this handout, and it makes a good point. I don't think putting our giant allies near our dragon allies is probably going to be a good idea either.
Yeah. The metallic elk dragons are outnumbered by the chromatic ones, so they need support from something.
But we have... So at midline, we have the siege weapons, which we can use against the dragons.
Do we have a detail of all the siege weapons?
They're going to be, typical medieval
Mm-hmm.
heavy ballista,
Catapults,
catapult, stuff like that. Yeah, they're not going to be. Maybe there'll be some like Scorpion-esque ones, kind of like in Game of Thrones, but your best bet, and even the council. Once again, this is all being chimed in from council members. They're going to chime in and say, metallic dragons against dragons is going to be good. Probably back them up with spellcasters.
Yeah.
To help fight them, since they will be the ones that will be able to take them at range.
Yep.
So,
and we have our mages backline anyways, so that's fine. We can have them help.
I guess the big question is, do we? Yeah, we really want the giants fighting the dragons. That's what they're here to do.
All right. So I think I have it organized here.
And this doesn't absolutely have to be decided right now.
Right.
You can discuss this. We are getting to the final battle this session.
All right.
Oh,
so
let's go. Yeah, we're good. We'll figure it
I'm
out.
going straight in. Yep. Just running in. That's fine.
Just start training real quick. We got a
Training montage.
Yeah, we've got a parade to attend to. We got dragons to kill, so fuck up, Buttercup.
Okay. All right. I have them organized. I can copy and paste what our list is, so before you have it.
Yeah, either way. And I can give everybody a call or a handout for it or something. Edit it as you see fit, and that way when the time comes, I'll know how to direct things. So yeah, as you're going through, discussing as this turns into very much a war council. You see several standouts during this war council, those that I mentioned before, especially Marshal Udo Ravengard. You see more of his personality coming out. He's pretty brash, very no-nonsense, but he knows what he's talking about. He did not become the leader of the Flaming Fist by good looks alone, and he's not a very good-looking man, so you can tell that much. They take your input, noting it and such, and including in their plans, editing here and there. You see a lot of the things that you're coming up with are in line with what they had already had in mind, countering certain factions with their own and such. So you continue on for quite some time. This is by far the longest meeting of the Council of Waterdeep due to the strategic planning taking no less than several hours. As you go through, though, you realize that even with teleportation circles assisting the army's movement, it's going to take at least a 10-day for them to reach the Well of Dragons. Skyreach Castle will also take about that long, if not a few days longer. So it's determined that Skyreach Castle will leave a bit before the army, traveling with the aid of a few chromatic dragons, flying at a distance to keep it protected and scouting for it in case of any chromatic dragon assaults on its transgression across the Sword Coast. So with all of that in mind, and knowing that you still have some time to hammer out battle plans and such, the council comes to a slow, not quite an abrupt end as it has before, as people begin to trail out, a few staying behind to finish up battle plans with the party as well. But ultimately, the council session comes to the end, as within the next 10 days, you will be departing from Waterdeep and heading towards the Well of Dragons with this army in tow. It is mentioned several times about your role in all of this, aside from planning and such. There are suggestions of keeping you on the front lines to bolster troops, as well as fight against the dragons, since you're kind of experts at this point on the matter of fighting dragons. But several people do chime in that all of these plans are to counter an army, to fight them. The full extent of their forces is truly unknown. They have a large army of cultists that are backed by devils and dragons, mercenaries, as well as many Thayan spellcasters, many of which you'd be able to counter with your own troops. But none of these plans have a way, aside from a long, drawn-out battle against the forces of the cult, to stop this ritual. Know that the ritual, more than likely, will be starting soon. So at the end of the council session, it's left up to you what your role in this, but it is pretty heavily hinted at that you will be relied upon to probably use the fighting as a distraction and try to make your way into the Well of Dragons. And Rian, Nightshade, and the Zentarum seem to have some ideas to help with that, so not forthcoming with details quite yet. So with that, the council session ends, and you depart from the council chambers, heading back into the city of Waterdeep.
Order of the Gauntlet was from, right?
Correct. Another slight detail that you were able to glean during the council session was the parade that would be happening. You were told that in honor of not only the council, but especially the Scales Deeds, this parade will be happening midday the following day, so tomorrow. And that you're expected as the guest of honor. Is being put on by the city of Waterdeep, but the field ward itself was selected not selected randomly, it won a contest rather, to be the hosts of this parade, and they will be able to show off their colors as well as the field ward's contributions to the city of Waterdeep. It seems to be a bit of an honor for them to host this parade. But knowing all this, knowing you have another day of time before it happens, anything y'all want to do? You're set free back into the city of Waterdeep.
We should decorate Mr. Pebbles for the parade.
Oh, that's a good idea.
We can put the dragon head on him.
Well, that wasn't where my brain went, but okay. I mean,
I don't know how it will look, but
I don't want to scare anybody.
Is a dragon head scary? I've never really seen one.
Yeah, they can be seen as gruesome, fearsome.
We should paint him.
So your face is kind of ugly, Max?
3 times.
No. God, no. I'm only part dragon. I'm only partially ugly.
We could paint him, I guess, Stone Skull. What are we gonna do to Bear Friend?
He has armor. Does he really need anything else?
Bear Friend has armor? Never seen it.
52 sessions in. Joke never gets old.
We should, Stone Skull, do you think your tailor could make a banner for us? Make colors?
How long do we have before?
Tomorrow afternoon.
Yep, tomorrow afternoon, essentially.
I'm pretty sure that she could. Actually, I have an idea, and I assume we are back at our place now.
Yeah, we can go back.
Okay.
Good place.
If we're going back there, Stone Skull is going to grab the Dragon Colt's banner and take it with him when he goes to visit. I'm on the wrong page here. Nanda, and say basically that he wants to mock the banner that they used and put the Skull's logo or the Scales logo in the center of it instead of the dragon skull that they were using.
Okay.
And use
she'd be able to do that.
And basically make, I don't know how many guys.
A bunch?
Yeah, I mean, however many you guys want her to make, but we can, yes, definitely get at least one.
No, it's one for Bear Friend, one for Mr. Pebbles. You know what I mean?
Yep. Okay. Yes, that's the idea. Basically, take it and basically copying off their design, but using the guild colors instead as in opposition of what they had.
Okay.
Randomness, complete random, but that's okay.
Yeah, you remember the Colt banner had 5 stripes colored based off the chromatic colors, the chromatic dragon colors rather. You gotta go through it and change the colors to be this alternating gold and maroon to match that, with instead of a large dragon head at the middle of it, instead has your Scales logo in the middle of it. Thus making a mockery of the cult's flag, but also a pretty representative flag of yourself.
Kind of imagine
Yes.
like maroon stripes on the side, silver stripes next to it, and then a big gold stripe in the center. Since it's supposed to be 5 different colors, and we'll just use the 3 main colors that we have.
I think you were gonna make a big pennant.
Yeah.
Of the banner, but I don't see one that exists.
I couldn't find one that matched the description that you had. I found the one from the Neverwinter game, but
that's fine. Either way. Alright, so yeah, she says 2 of those won't be terribly hard, not terribly intricate pieces that will need to be designed and made. She says since it's for the parade tomorrow, she'll have to rush the order and get it ready for you and deliver it to the keep in the morning, or the guild hall rather, in the morning. So yeah, anybody have anything else they would like to take care of in the city during the day? Any plans? Any sit down and chill in the tavern, or
Tara's gonna get Mr. Pebbles ready, and then work on the underground portion of our base.
Gnolly is gonna head off to Merchant to try to unload the last of our stuff before the last fight.
okay?
I want to just kind of, in reverence, go through and comb through the pages of the tome I've been carrying for some time now. Kind of rehashing all the things that have happened so far.
Okay.
Led up to this.
Stone Skull is going to try to sell the oversized scimitar that they put in his bag of holding. That's worth 400 gold pieces.
Okay.
And then seeing Max sit down with his tome, is going to walk up with the Book of Athletics and hand it to him and say, I can't read this, but maybe you can read it for me.
Yeah, I'll kind of look over it and not exactly sure what this is. I don't remember.
We picked up a bunch of random books when I think it was while we were in Zonthal's Tower, and one of which was a book about athletics.
Well, yeah, I'll read it to you.
Okay. Please hold. Gotta go find that room again.
But if did I get the value of 400 gold from that scimitar?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Anything you're selling at this point, you can just get for the regular price and everything. The Book of Athletics that you found, I don't remember. Gold high. Didn't I tell you what it was worth?
You told me what it was worth, yes.
Okay. Yeah, so as you're having Maximilian read through this book, it speaks about, feats and things that have happened by, records held by people of great strength. It talks about ancient people, barbarians and such, ones that it writes about that are all supposedly true. Things like taking out and ripping great trees hundreds of years old from their stems just with their arms. It talks about one man chopping down an ancient tree, said to be a long dead tree ants, that it took him over a year to do so, but he chopped it down in the course of a year with an old handy axe. All of these different, stories and such doesn't seem to hold any magic or anything like that within it, but it's definitely a pretty old book worth a good amount of money.
Okay. Stone Skull kind of hearing the information from the book and will kind of look at it and say, I guess I expected something more from it. I'm gonna go see somebody that would want to buy this.
Well, I thought it was right up your alley.
Thank you, Max.
Yeah, of course. Anytime.
Ignalia, is all your stuff just mundane treasure and such, or?
Mostly. I mean, I kind of want to do a few crafty things if I can. But yeah, it's mostly going to be selling off some magical stuff and a few gems.
I thought maybe the book was magical, guys. Like I'd get a buff for doing it.
Do you want me to just list it, or?
Anything that doesn't have a price already, yeah, I'll have to make a price for it.
Well, in my case, all of it.
Okay, then. Give me 2 seconds to open up books.
No point letting it sit in the bag any longer.
Listen, Doctor Strange was sitting in that meeting. He told you you're in the end game now, so there you go. That open to look stuff up. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. 1 potion of fire breath.
Okay. That will be worth. Yeah, I'll just do this one thing at a time. Okay. That'll be worth. 250 gold pieces.
Alright. I have a sapphire gem. That's all that I have there.
Where did you reclaim that?
Honestly.
Probably from the maze.
Yeah.
Oh, was it one of the gems you got for completing the puzzle?
Probably.
Those are gone. They vanished when you exited the maze.
Ah, okay, that's fine with me.
Yeah, if you have any kind of gem that doesn't have a price on it, that's probably what it's from.
Yeah, probably. Identify the unknown potion from Zonthal's tower.
Man. I thought the potion of the fire breath was it, because that was the only potion I saw.
No.
Did I give y'all something extra, maybe?
I'm pretty sure we got, I don't know, was it Max or Stone Skull got it, and then they gave it to me. I think Max gave it to me.
I did. There were we identified a couple of them, and there was one that we didn't, and I think it was from the pool in the maze.
Pool had a wand in it. It had a potion, which was a potion of fire breath, wand, 3 daggers, a drift globe, and an elemental gem.
I'm trying to remember, because I remember getting a couple potions and having a few. I identified 1 or 2, and then not the rest.
Okay, so that sapphire that you found.
Yes.
Actually wasn't one you got from that. It was a... the sapphire by itself is worth at least 1,000 gold pieces, but you're able to identify that as an elemental gem. It has the same properties as the ones that you found in that one room with the swirling tornado. It will summon an air elemental if you throw it in the ground in front of an enemy.
Do I know, is this an elemental that I control, or it's just going to hang out?
There you go.
Probably not going to hang out.
Use an action to break the gem. Elemental is summoned, and you can, as if you had cast Conjure Elemental, and the magic is lost. Conjure Elemental.
Pretty cool.
Let's see.
I was going to be under the impression it just spawned said elemental.
Yes.
And
you and companions for the duration.
Nice.
It obeys commands, but it will act on its own. Has its own turns.
Cool. I got a couple of those. That should come in handy.
Okay, yeah, that's sweet. Keeping
Do
that.
we have a yellow one?
No.
No. We got a blue one.
All right.
As we're idea. As we're going through this, because it's going to take a few minutes, if we everybody else wants to take a quick break, and then Scott can do it after we get done.
Or if you guys want to do it, I just have to step away for a couple minutes, so I was going to send us to break, and you guys can keep talking in the background.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Either way.
Yeah, let's do that.
I took a break while you were tactical planning, so.
Sounds good. All right. So, with that, guys, I'm going to step away, get something to drink, get ready, and then we're going to prepare for our parade that they're getting ready to give us. So don't go anywhere. Drop into our break. Come back in 5 minutes. I'll leave the audio on for what they're talking about. That way you can listen in on the discussion. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
Because there was one in that water.
That could be it. I just know we never identified it, so like...
Okay. Yeah, if it's in that group. Because y'all... Yeah, I remember that now. You said, don't worry about the potions. It looked familiar. Because it had orange liquid flickering and smoke and stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, you have 2 potions of fire breath then. It's a fire breath. Yeah, potion of fire breath.
Okay, hold on.
Cash those in.
All right.
Can we administer it to Bear Frank?
While we're on break, I'm just gonna tell you what I'm gonna do with a lot of other stuff too. Some of it for flavor. All right. But for the stuff that's actually worth like trading in, a scroll of gaseous form. So that's 3rd level.
Could you imagine going to like an emporium? You're like, I got some things. Start setting it down. Like, whoa, yeah, check it out. Here you go.
Where'd you get that, Sonny? Listen, man, don't ask.
Put this bag here for a bit.
The scroll of gaseous form will be worth 225.
All right. Scroll of water breathing, also 3rd level.
Making this easy. Also 225.
Sick. Well, unless anyone in the party wants it, kind of thinking of pawning that orb of dragon's breath, the cold one.
I mean, yeah, whatever. Unless my only thought would be to have a nice little collection in the guild hall. That'd be kind of cool.
I mean, okay, that's actually a fair point.
You know what I mean? Like those are super like wondrous trinkets. We should hold on to those. The one of a kind ones.
I mean, that's fair. I doubt I'll need the cash for it. So okay, noted.
I've got. I don't know if you have it on your inventory. I think it's just on mine. I have a wand of magic missile. I've never touched, and a wand of fear. Both of those seem useful, but I don't know. Really have need for both of them.
I do have the magic missile on my list of stuff I've kept for other people, not the fear one though.
You could throw that on there too.
I mean, to be fair, you could also offer that up to like some of the armies.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know what I'm saying. Like, I was just making a list of things.
Yeah. I don't know. I would say hold on to the magic missile. You never know when you need to like definitely hit something right now.
Yeah, hang on to it.
Or I don't remember. Is it one of the like expend number of charges, or is it like always 1st level or some shit?
No, it's expend charges.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, definitely say that because you can expend a ton and just
You can do 84
really
in one
annihilate
shot
something.
safely.
Yeah, like that's worth keeping. All right. Might as well size it up. Plate armor of lightning resistance.
Yeah.
Also, seems like something coming mighty handy for the armies. One of the generals.
Yeah, I mean, like for one dude. I mean, I'll offer it. I just want to know.
Like on or something like that.
5,000 gold pieces.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, I already got a ton of money. Really,
Yeah, I mean,
what to do with it
I
at
do
this
too,
point.
but I want to, like, I just want to go see what else we can find, right? Because, like, scrolls are going to be amazingly useful to us. I've already got, like, a few good ones. I just want to kind of load up. All right, and then you can say, like, no to this entirely, but I have red dragon scales and green dragon scales that I just have chilling. Anyway, I'll donate that to the bar. We can do something with that.
Yeah, we have a parade coming up.
All right.
It's adorned some floats and dragon scales.
Okay. And then yeah, I'm gonna go shopping for a few things if I can find them, and I'm gonna go to a tailor with a request for not this campaign.
Okay.
But yeah,
All
so
right.
that's it in total.
Yeah. Scrolls. That's a good call.
I will get rid of. I'm definitely gonna trash the potions of fire breath. I think everything else, and the 2 scrolls I'll sell. So I'm getting almost 1,000 gold for those things, and I think I'll, like donate the armor and so on.
Okay. The Froom or something.
Yeah, I'll give it to him. Why not?
Happy got new armor.
Don't die, old man.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So while they are having their discussion here, let's. Oh, my camera's not working here. Why not? Why are you not? There it is. Thank you. Yeah. So while they're having their, sorry about that, their little discussion. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's so far going well. Our planning is pretty much as good as I think it's going to get for now. Very curious to see exactly what's going to happen when we start making our way to the Well of Dragons. I have a feeling it's not going to be us just marching right in and having our way here. I think we're going to be struggling a bit to get through, but that's quite okay. We're going to jump back to our game, continue figuring out what they're wanting to do before moving in, and then go and have a little fun with our parade. So yeah, let's jump back into it, shall we?
Sell those saying they have your names on them and such and are only good for you.
Listen now.
That's we're trying to get creative here.
If Clint McElroy will steal George Clooney's Oscar, all right.
Doesn't work that way, unfortunately. Yeah, so if you wanted to shop for those, you can go to the Ledger, which is a magical scroll shop. If anybody else has anything else they'd like to look around for or seek out here in the city of Waterdeep, you are welcome to do so.
The Zentarum going to have our items.
I will say Rian Nightshade did stop by to speak with you before departing. She said that almost all of the items they were able to acquire. They were still working on a Cloak of Displacement and another Potion of Invisibility. She said that they should have them on the morrow. Should be able to bring them to you.
Okay. Yeah, she can just, I guess, bring all of it with her whenever we meet up. Or whatever. When are we planning on heading out? They were wanting to get moving pretty soon, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, imagine my thought was like the parade was going to go to the gates, like basically walk us out.
Oh, the parade is a celebration thing. The armies aren't departing until afterwards.
Oh,
so
okay.
like the parade is like in the evening, and then the morning after we're heading out, something like that.
Around about, yeah, something like that. The two are not mutually
Correct.
conclusive.
You said it was about a 10-day before it would start, so I didn't know if that meant we were traveling the whole time, or if we were going to be like the royal party that gets to skip it all and zapped over.
But
even with the teleportation circles, like traveling to where these circles have been made outside of Waterdeep, and then traveling to where they're teleporting you to is going to take a 10-day to even get to the Well of Dragons.
Gotcha.
And then you'll be departing Waterdeep. The armies will be leaving because you've seen all the complexity of the armies and such. Conscripts have been paid to join the army. They're being trained currently for a few more days, and then the army will start setting off during the marches for the 10-day afterwards. They're going to be trained. And you'll have time to do other things, but once again, you'll be marching along with a sizable army.
Well,
Alright.
Cue the montage is great.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to the here and now at the ledger with Maximilian and Ignalia, shopping in this magical scroll shop. Are there any scrolls you're looking for in particular, or are you just browsing wares?
I want to see the reserve list.
Yeah, like definitely browsing. Otherwise, I can definitely look up a couple real quick.
Specifics help.
I was.
There's a lot of spells in the game.
Khajiit has wares if you have coin.
I want to focus mainly on protective spells, specifically like ones that heal, ones that help allies, ones that make us harder to hit or more lethal.
Okay.
Haste, stuff like that.
All right. So we'll say you're looking around first, Maximilian. Go ahead and give me 4 D100 rolls, please.
Ooh. It's like spot average.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
Smack in the middle.
Alright, so with your 6... And I'll just type these out real quick. And with your 70... Alright, so you're able to find those four scrolls. Ignalia, any specifics or any schools or anything like that, or anything they do you're looking for?
Your way is more fun. Let's do that.
Okay.
So 4D100.
Yes.
And I am going to look for something that's not a scroll after. I've got a plan I'd like to concoct.
Okay. And just to clarify rules real quick, basically I allow scrolls or items typically to hold concentration for the user, so the user isn't maintaining on that. However, only one instance of this can be happening at the same time. So you can't have like 3 scrolls that are all concentration spells going at the same time.
You mean I can't use multiple protection of energy to have all resistance?
All the enemies, yeah, no.
Well, darn.
Unfortunately, time consuming, but it's fine. Okay.
What is the level of the infusion spell? Is it just base level?
Base level, yeah.
Okay. I'm definitely interested in the bestow curse and mass cure ones.
Okay. I'm gonna give you prices here in a second.
Hey Willie, who do you think is going to spend more time surrounded by friendlies? You or me, you think typically?
You know about that circle of power or whatever?
Oh yeah.
Probably. Probably me, honestly.
Alright. I'm going to pull that from my pouch and kind of just slap it onto your chest.
Roll it up and tuck it away.
That's a big one. Don't you lose that.
I'm trying to find stuff that'll actually be useful to you too.
Do you want me to tell you what my the other item I was going to go looking for is in the meantime?
What is that?
I wanted to go try to find more enchanted arrows.
Yeah, sure, why not? Alright, so with your 4, those are the spell scrolls you're able to find.
I know most of those.
Which ones were you interested in, Max?
Bestow curse and mass cure wounds.
Okay. So curse will be. Oops, I don't have the right thing open. I need. So. There we go. There we go. Alright, bestow curse will be 20 gold pieces. You said mass cure wounds?
Yeah.
So that one will be a bit more expensive. It will be 1,200 gold pieces.
1,200.
Yes.
Okay.
Stone Skull will give you 500 gold pieces.
I'm good. I still got well over a G. Alright.
Full of the good stuff.
Yeah.
Ignalia, any of those you're interested in?
So one thing, the way that you use scrolls, Aura of Life, does it drop if I go down?
You still have to be able to command it to heal.
No, but it automatically, on your turn, brings up anyone at 0 to 1 HP.
Ooh.
So, like, I would just be getting up every turn.
I think, yeah, intended no, and I can modify the wording on it. Basically, it uses the concentration and maintains it, but it ties the spell to you. So if you're no longer there to keep channeling the spell, even though you're not concentrating on it, it will go away. So if you were knocked out, that spell scroll will drop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I will take all of them except Wall of Light.
Okay. Alright, so Aura of Life. That is
Stone Skull, if you're still looking to be charitable with cash, I do need probably a grand or so from the group. 2 if we can spare it.
I mean, Stone Skull only has 500 gold, but he'll give you all of it.
Oh.
What do you need?
Diamonds.
I put 100 platinum in your hands.
Done.
Revivify.
I need to go buy some diamonds suitable for Raise Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So 2,600 total. I slap it down on the counter.
Pleasure doing business with you, rich fuck.
Yeah, no, I haven't spent money like this whole campaign.
Hoarder. As far as diamonds, you'll be able to find those easy at any kind of jeweler and stuff, so whatever the price listed in the spell, you'll be able to find those.
500 a pop.
Roger. Alright, so I grab all of those, I turn to Matt, I give them to you.
All 3?
Yep.
Okay.
They're at their intended level or base level, so Aura of Life 4th level, Haste 3rd level, Revivify 3rd level. But no material costs for Revivify or the others if they have one.
Very good. So I've just loaded Max up with a mountain of scrolls like Samuel Tarley.
Walking around, begin reading, have fun. Alright, and moving on. Do you have anything else you wanted to sell or look for, or just moving on to the arrows now?
The arrows and then a small errand.
Okay. So yeah, you're able to find a shop that has a bunch of different magical items, mostly weapons within it. A lot of them pretty mundane, very shiny looking swords, things of that nature. You assume pretty much everything in here is probably like +1. A few things are a bit off to the side. You do see there's a partially... it's got 5 arrows in this quiver. It's not a full quiver. But you see these intricate runes and such going down the sides of these arrows. You see a few others here and there that look somewhat familiar. You see there's one, this kind of iron black arrow that looks familiar. It being an arrow of dragon slaying. As you're examining the almost empty quiver with just a few arrows in it, just 5 of them, and inquire with the salesman, he says these are arrows of spell storing. They have spells that can be embedded within them, and the spells activate when they hit a target.
Yeah, how much do you want for your ridiculous arrows, sir?
He explains that they're somewhat costly, but they can hold somewhat powerful spells. They are limited to 2nd level and below in the arrows themselves. But because of their limitation,
oh my gosh,
are he says for all 5 of them, if you wanted to buy the entire quiver's worth, it will set you back 3,000 gold pieces.
So remind me what's in how many of each in the quiver?
There's 5 spell storing arrows, so you can put a spell of 2nd level or lower inside these arrows, and whenever they hit a target, the spell will activate.
So 5 of those. What about was there a dragon slaying?
Yes, there was 1 arrow of dragon slaying. Arrow of slaying. It is quite expensive. For it by itself will cost 5,500 gold pieces.
Jesus.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm not that rich. Okay, how much was it for the spell storing though?
3,000 for all 5.
Okay, I'm gonna buy. Sorry, I saw someone's message. Yeah, I'm gonna buy those arrows.
Alright.
And then what I want to do is I have an oil. I want to try to store the arrows in the oil in like the bottom of the quiver.
Spell storing ones?
Yes.
Okay.
So like, do you know what I'm saying? I want to just basically make them spell storing, but like quickly apply an oil to them if they're drawn.
Yeah, you could probably manage that.
All right. Very good. All right. So that's it for the arrow business.
All right. Anyone have anything else they would like to do?
Only my random chore.
Nope.
Studious about.
And now I really want to get back to my book. Forgot all about that.
All right.
Stroke the pages.
So with that, spending a good chunk of your day in this council session, a few of you head out on the town, preparing even further, knowing that the army will be marching sooner rather than later. All of these council sessions have led up to this final battle that seems to be drawing ever closer against the Cult of the Dragon. But before then, you make some preparations, knowing that there was to be a parade of celebration in your name, as well as the council's name, for the fight, kind of a send-off thing, though you won't be quite leaving just yet. And that'll be happening tomorrow. So you head back tonight, back to the keep, to go about your various duties. You see that as you arrive in the evening, once again, just as the day before, the tavern area of your keep is quite busy, with people showing up to drink in the place owned by the Scales of Justice, this famous adventuring party that you call yourselves members of. You're able to party, dance the night away, drink.
Drinks for soldiers are free.
Okay.
Anyone in the fighting force drinks for free here.
Yeah, and there are some that visiting from outside the walls, or guards that have been within the city walls as well, with the entourages and things of that nature do show up to greet you, talking to you as they have time, as you have time to speak to them. But yeah, you're able to celebrate the evening knowing that with today's meeting, it is becoming very quickly becoming common news that the armies that are gathering around Waterdeep will be setting forth to end this tyranny of the Cult of the Dragon. You enjoy the evening's festivities, those of you choosing to, getting fairly wasted and enjoying yourselves among your patrons, visiting your tavern. As the night grows late and the morning grows near, you set off to bed knowing you have time to sleep in and such, with a parade in your honor that you are all expected to go to. Just because it is, once again, in your honor, happening not until the afternoon hours. So if nobody has anything else,
I'm gonna go up to Rogar's room and leave him a specialized collection of arrows on his bed.
Do I need to true strike him?
Yeah, you're gonna true strike 2 of them.
Okay.
I'm going to second level burning hands 2 of them, and in the the last one, second level chaos bolt.
Ooh.
The title of this session is now changed to Making Steve Hawkeye.
All right, Rogar, you got a bunch of fancy arrows.
Oh, more than that.
Track of.
Are you writing this down, Damien? God damn it.
Yes.
Okay. 2
Here.
true strike arrows, 2 second level burning hands arrows, 1 second level chaos bolt arrow. All of those are in oil of sharpness, so +3 magic arrows.
I swear if you miss.
So that's +3 base damage, +3 to hit. Yes.
I mean, he shouldn't miss.
See, I'm buying you all gifts before I probably die, maybe.
Oh, you're totally going down. I'm making sure of that.
Please
All
hit
right, give
whatever
me that
you're aiming at
Revivify,
with the true strike arrows so that I can justify having that as a cantrip. This will be the first time it's gotten used its entire game.
True. Also, Will, you make a good point. I'm gonna need that Revivify scroll back.
Yeah, right. No. You don't need it. I got it. Like, don't you worry. I got everybody. We got a small library.
Just sad nobody put cure wounds into an arrow. I really wanted you to shoot one of your allies to heal them.
I thought about it, but
I thought about shield arrows.
It's like hits you like and then a shield pops up. Like,
Listen.
really? They asked for
Listen.
that arrow?
I didn't do it because A, it's only a second level cure wounds, and if Steve is the one shooting them, his sneak attack's gonna more than kill them again.
Here, let me give this delivered to you right to your lungs. Like, no, don't need it there. Skin's good.
It's like the any of you guys play SWTOR?
A long time ago.
The commando healer where you literally turn your gun and fire it at your teammate. Same fucking concept.
Yeah, sounds about right. That's pretty
Hey,
much
let's
it.
throw greater invisibility in that arrow. You hit him and just vanish. Like, oh.
Then you just hear fucking ow! And disadvantage on strength or stealth checks, even though you're invisible.
Right?
All right.
I heard you. You shot me in the ass.
And I'm gonna leave a bundle with Joe before we head out in the morning.
Okay.
Hey, can we put Ray's dead in the arrow? And I'm like, oh, wow, ow, wow, oh, I'm breathing. And
That's
clear.
why I limited it, because I was like, nope, we're not going to get too crazy with it.
Wow,
You
you don't
said-
want a disintegrate arrow?
Mir said, too bad it's not third level because you could put Revivify on it and shoot somebody from across the room.
Dude, if it was third level, I would have put Fireball in those arrows.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If
I
it
knew
was
that would
third
happen.
level, we could have put Terra Burst in there. Or Erupting Earth. An arrow that makes the ground explode. Let's go.
We just combined 2 arrows to have the Molten Core volley.
Can you
do the Hawkeye
imagine
1-2 with 2 arrows?
archers with like 20 of these arrows sitting in the middle of your army, firing those into the cult army with like fireballs in all of them? Just
That would be fantastic.
launching them into groups. Like, all right, you don't have to be too accurate. Just get it in the middle of them. Boom, boom,
He's like,
boom, boom.
A good archer's looking like, which one do you want me to hit? So you tell me the exact, that one right there? Alright.
Yep. Let's see him dodge this. It's like, oh, the arrow fell to the ground right next to the guy I was shooting for. That's unfortunate. Good thing it's an AoE spell. Doesn't have to hit.
The arrow just looks like it's like tipped in uranium.
Mm-hmm. All right, so yes, Mirne, I'm not dumb. I know what my scary players can do with stuff that I give them. So, all right. So, yeah, you party the night away and everything, getting ready for your little celebratory thing that you've got going on the next day. Any preparations aside from dressing up Mr. Pebbles that you want to do for your parade?
Dressing up Mr. Pebbles, getting Bear Friend ready, everything polished.
And the banners.
Is Arthur gonna be in the parade at some point somehow?
Yes, he will be present.
Okay, then I want to have like summoned someone and have sent the lightning resistance armor over to him, and then like with just a small note on it that says like polish first.
Okay. Yeah, it's got a little blood on it. All right.
And
Anything else?
I'm gonna leave that bundle with Joe, which is a. Let me see here. It is a small collection of white dragon scale and white dragon leather, with instructions to turn into a cloak.
Okay.
Nice.
Along with said bundle will be a journal, all of it tied together, and it comes with a letter addressed to someone else.
Okay.
And that's it.
All right. So with all of your partying and shenanigans and outfitting one another in stuff, you head out to the next morning, adorning yourselves in finer clothing and gear and such, wanting to look the part for the celebrated heroes of the Sword Coast that you are. And with that, you set off to get in on this parade. So as you make your way up to the field ward, you see that the field ward's a bit different than most of the wards of Waterdeep. You see that there's most of the roads are paved and such here, but a lot of the land is earthen and such. And as you look around, you can see why this ward is known for basically its production of things, being like food and livestock, grain. You see places where draft and war horses and such are raised. It's a very kind of down-to-earth place. You'll notice that most of the people from the field ward have a very kind of deep southern accent, that Joe Gath is even from the field ward. Very kind of humble, but at the same time very no-nonsense folk here. But as you're moving forward into the ward itself, are their colors off of my head? Let me set that up real quick. Every ward has colors that they fly on flags and such. No, that doesn't tell. Also, kind of different here as well. You see there's a lot different variety when it comes to the people here, the races. There's a lot more demi-humans and such here, tieflings and half-orcs and things of that nature, versus within the city proper, where it's predominantly more, I guess, generally perceived civilized races. So, you know, elves, halflings, gnomes, humans, obviously. Whereas out here, it's a little bit rougher around the edges with their denizens. I can't find what their colors are. I guess I'll have to look that up later. But you see the field ward's colors flying high. You see a lot of people are adorning the streets, going down the main fieldway that runs all the way from the west to the east until the north yard of the field ward. As you move up, you see lots of different soldiers and such all around you, and as you kind of get to the fieldway, looking around at the crowds and such, you start to see people beginning to recognize you and looking around nervously and then starting to move towards you, and you see some of these guards immediately rushing over to you. One kind of younger one looks up and he kind of quickly bows his head, his armor clanking as he does so, his helmet almost falling off, and he raises it back up. He says, good to meet you, Scales. You're requested upon arrival to head down to the western end of the fieldway. I will escort you down there. You have a wagon and such, if you don't mind, at least, that will take you through this parade. That's he kind of looks up at the sun. We'll be starting shortly. If you would come with me, please. I'm super nervous to meet you.
Yeah, just give him a big nod and smile. You know, lace a little bit of the words with, you know, some magic, you know, like inspiration, like, you know, raise your chin up, son. We're all here together for one purpose.
With
You're
that,
just as valuable as I.
As you're saying that, once again, kind of lacing your words with magic, he looks at you and You see a bit of a shaky smile crossing his face as he nods, calming down a bit. And he says, "Yes, of course. Yes." And he turns around and you see him motioning for two other guards. He says, "Right this way, if you don't mind." And he begins to kind of lead you up the fieldway, which is strangely empty of people. You see the guards have done a good job of moving them out of the street. Unfortunately, that puts a lot of attention on you as you start walking through the field ward along the fieldway. As you're moving through, you see people everywhere. You can see people hanging off roofs. You can see them sitting up on top of some of the lampposts and such that always have lanterns hung up on them. As you're looking around, you can barely see out to the outskirts of the walls up to the north and south, knowing that the field ward itself was kind of an addition to Waterdeep after it was established. It was kind of expanded out after one of the troll wars that assaulted Waterdeep, and a secondary wall was put up, giving it kind of a twofold defense to the side of Waterdeep itself, as that's where trolls kept attacking it from. But as you follow the soldier, whose name you learn is Finley, seems to be a bit younger man, leads you up all the way to the northwestern part of the fieldway itself. It narrows down to a point. You see some of the people dispersing with a lot of guards protecting a bunch of wagons and such. As you're moving across it, you see a lot of these wagons are adorned in different livery that you have seen before and recognize. You see livery for all the different kingdoms that have come to join in this. You see the purple-esque Hormir colors for the Purple Dragon Knights. You see Neverwinter represented here, Baldur's Gate. You see the Lord's Alliance with its red and gold colors on display on one wagon. You see a few prominent kind of nobles, members of the Lord's Alliance, members of these other places. You see a couple people that you recognize from the council, but not a lot of them. You do notice that Baldur's Gate is missing their head tactician, as he's probably still working on all of the plans for this stuff, doesn't have time for any fancy parades. But you do see some representatives here and there. You pass by, not the Zentarum or the Harpers, they are strangely absent, you assume for obvious reasons. But you do see the Order of the Gauntlet, with Ondrafrum standing proudly on it, and he nods and smiles to you as you pass by, heading towards the rear end of the wagon train. As you're looking at Onthar, you can see that he has this pretty familiar-looking armor on. It fits a little bit tight around his middle, but he was able to squeeze into it. It's adorned with these kind of arcing trails that almost look like lightning across its almost pearlescent blue form across this armor that Ignalia gave him. As you move towards the back of the wagon train, it only being about 10 or 15 or so wagons, you see one has been decked out in maroon and gold, and sitting upon it, over to the side, kind of hanging off, are two large banners with sticks through them. As you move closer, you see your symbol for the scales has been etched into both of these banners, as well as into the covering of the wagon itself. The banners that you requested from Nanda have been delivered here for you to adorn as you wish. As you get closer to that, to the wagon and such that is to be yours in this parade, Finley kind of looks up to you and he says, the parade will be starting shortly. The wagon drivers will take care of everything. You just need to wave and smile. The people love you, really, so just smile at them. It'll make everyone happy, I promise.
Oh, okay.
How much of a show do we make of this? To do like some flying acrobatics around this thing? Do we just kind of keep it, cup our hands and wave and smile at everybody?
Tara's going to climb up on Mr. Pebbles and say, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell everyone to come see us at the bar.
Advertising.
Joe Gath would be so proud of you.
Alright, so what do you do with the two banners?
One is mounted on the back of Bearfriend.
And I'll I'll carry the other one and wave it around from the top of Mr. Pebbles.
All right. Anybody have anything else they want to do to the float before you depart? Have about maybe 10 minutes.
I just want to make sure I'm in a position where I can unfurl the wings completely, towards the back.
Okay.
Nice big spread.
Yeah, it's a moderately sized wagon, so I mean it's pretty open for you to stand up there. Probably almost everybody could fit on top of it if they wanted to. Otherwise, they could walk close to it. All right. What was that?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. So with that,
Good to go.
you all get in your positions, setting up the banners and such, preparing for this kind of dog and pony show of showing yourselves off, but knowing, at the back of your mind, at the very least, that this is something that the people need. The attacks of the cult have been so widespread that there's no hiding what's happening any longer. It's common news that chromatic dragons are slaughtering whole villages and even attacking cities. And while Waterdeep has been spared from most of that, people have family in other places. They know of other places. It's not secret news. So some kind of semblance of happiness and celebration seems to be sorely needed. So with that, with all of your livery set up on your own cart, you see the other carts in front of you beginning to creak forward, kind of spaced out a good 20, 30 feet in between each one. And all of the drivers and such of these wagons taking the cue and doing their jobs, leaving you to just let the crowds fawn over you, essentially. As you start moving forward, heading out of the kind of emptied out area of the fieldway, heading down back the way you came along the streets into the fieldward, you see people. Once again, you're able to see a lot better now, being about 6 or 7 feet up into the air from the back of the cart, those of you on the cart itself, that these people are everywhere. They're clogging the streets shoulder to shoulder. Once again, on top of rooftops, you see people. Kids up on shoulders. You see, imagine the busiest parade you possibly could, and that's what you're seeing, except just multitudes more people than you could think would even fit in these streets. But somehow they have, not wanting to miss it. You continue on, heading down for about 20 minutes or so, continuing on down the streets. Everybody give me perception checks.
Nice.
Double nice.
I knew this would be too good to be true.
Stun Skull? No, I have Stun Skull. Who am I missing?
Max.
Max. Max?
You're muted, by the way.
Sorry. Let's see.
Perception check. There you go.
There we go. Cool. All right, so as you're traveling for a good 20 minutes or so, making your way about a quarter of the way down the fieldway, back towards the north yard where it ends, and you assume the parade will end as well. As you're moving down, all of you except Ignalia and Terra, you're paying attention to the crowds, and Terra's just waving this flag blindly up in the air on the back of Mr. Pebbles, rather. The rest of you feel a shift in the air. Something seems off all of a sudden. You naturally are looking around you in a bit of a confused state. And then all of you hear the roars and cries of dragons from ahead of you.
Good.
And that is where we're going to end the session for the evening.
Oh, man.
Those better be metallic dragons.
Oh man, we've burned down every other marketplace we've ever entered.
Right.
All I was, and I said this in chat too, all I was thinking was, of course it's in the field ward, because it's outside of the gates and walls of Waterdeep, where we can be attacked by dragons. Looks like
Yeah.
I'm kind of right.
It's crazy.
Crazy.
Bring it on.
had to give y'all something. Like,
Mhm.
can't just leave Waterdeep peacefully. That would be too boring.
Yeah.
Not for a bunch of dragons. They're too smart for that.
All right.
So, yeah.
And then Havoc made us slaughter dragons from here to the Well of Dragons.
Yeah, you know what? We're walking. Well, we're gathering steam on the way.
All right. Gonna end stream.
Bye, stream.
That's stream.
All right. Let's do this.